Welcome to Soul Study, the podcast where we explore personal growth, spirituality, and the deeper questions of what it means to consciously create a life we love. Think of this as your weekly book club for the soul. Each episode will study powerful ideas from transformative books, reflect how they apply to real life, and gently challenge ourselves to grow together. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about remembering that you are energy, you are powerful, and you are always in a state of creation. Here, we take what resonates and leave the rest. So take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to become your most magnetic self. Let's begin today's Soul Study. Hello everyone, Jules here, and welcome back to Soul Study, the podcast to help you become the happiest, healthiest, most magnetic version of you. So, last week, we talked about never assuming, which was the third agreement in our book, The Four Agreements. Now, it was a pretty good one. That one is one that I need to work on a lot. And also, thank you to everybody who reached out with their questions, thoughts, and opinions. I did get some DMs. I got some comments. It makes me feel really good that you guys are enjoying the book as much as I am. Also, last week, just to recap, we had our weekly Souls challenge of reading reps. So that is where you pick a quote, poem, verse, etc., and you read it once every day, at least once every day. You could read it more if you wanted to. I'm actually still a little behind because I'm pre-recording podcasts, so I am going to have to still do that one this coming week. So let me know what you guys picked for your reading reps. I love to get more inspirational quotes under my belt. So let's dive right in. This week, everyone, we are on chapter 5, and this is our fourth agreement. So the very last agreement in our 4 agreements. This week, we're going to be learning about our very last agreement in the book, The Four Agreements, which is to always do your best. And this is my absolute favorite agreement. So let's dive right into chapter 5 and learn more about doing our best. Our first quote today is going to be on page 75, going into page 76. And it says, keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality and other times it will not be as good. So I really love this quote for a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is that it tells us that our best isn't always going to look the same every single day. Our best is going to change just like how our moods, emotions, and attitudes change on a daily basis as well. An example of this is like when you're sick, your best is going to look very different to when you're healthy, or when you're happy versus when you're sad. Your best in all those different scenarios is going to look very different. Now, what I like about this is that it gives you more peace of mind and allows you to give yourself understanding for when you feel like you need to do better and you're being really hard on yourself because you just can't get there. It's not that you're not doing your best. It's that you're not overdoing it. So reading this kind of shows us that when you're overdoing it, you're actually not giving your best because you're not treating yourself and your emotional and physical state and well-being the best that you can. Always doing your best doesn't mean overdoing it, because if you do overdo it, that means you're not going to be doing your best. I hope that makes sense. Now, how I've kind of seen this in my life is before I even read this book, there was a saying that one of my dance instructors would say in college. And ever since she said this, I kind of had been living my life this way already without knowing that it was kind of what the Four Agreements is talking about. My professor would say that always give 100% of whatever you have that day. So what that would look like is that if you only have 70% that day, give 100% of 70%. If you only have 20% that day, give 100% of your 20% that you have. So it really shows you that your best is not, your 100%, your best is not going to look the same every single day because you are not waking up every single day being at 100%. Now, sometimes there are days you're going to be at 100%. Sometimes there are days you're going to be at 120%. When you're at those days, heck yeah, go for it. Give your 100% of whatever that is. But also don't be hard on yourself when you wake up and have those days where you only have 70, 50, 20%. If you wake up and only have 20%, as long as you are just given your 20%, you are doing your best. You don't need to give 100% on a day where you only have 20. Just give that 20. Give all of that 20, and that is you doing your best. Now, kind of what I'm saying here is that this shows that you can still always do your best while respecting your energy and your body. And lately, I've been really focusing on this agreement specifically, especially within this podcast and my YouTube channel, and also my overall artistry of just being a dancer and an artist is I'm trying to do my best in that. And what that means is respecting myself and my emotions to not overdo it. Because if I'm overdoing it, I'm not giving it my best. I'm rushing, I'm making mistakes. So really when it comes to doing these things that like no one's forcing me to do this stuff. I just really like doing it and I want to do it. And so doing my best in that and giving myself a little less pressure will overall actually just be better quality outcomes because I'm not forcing myself to do it and I'm not pushing myself too hard to do it and I'm not giving poor quality results, if that makes sense. How you can kind of look at this in your everyday life is look at what your best is today. What do you got today? Are you at 100%? Are you at 20%? Are you at 70 or 60%, somewhere in the middle? See what percent you're at today and respect that you're going to try to do your best to give whatever that percentage is. Now, pause when you feel like you're becoming overwhelmed. And in that pause, ask yourself, what does my best look like without overdoing it? And that's really all I have to say about quote number 1. That was kind of the intro into what doing your best is and what doing your best means. Let's dive into our second quote of the day. That is going to be on page 78 and 79. And it says, when you always do your best, you take action. Doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Now, I found this quote really interesting because most of the time, most people only do things because they're expecting some sort of payoff. And I'm not going to lie, I've done that too. I do that too, still sometimes, of course, because whenever we're doing something, it's because we're expecting or wanting something out of it. Now, recently, I have been trying to change this, and we'll talk about kind of getting into a new mindset here with it. Now, taking action in general is going to move you forward. Action moves you forward. Now, what we talked about in the last book and within doing these agreements, what actions you're going to be taking is that of aligned action, which moves you forward in the direction you want to go. Now, when we look at people doing and taking action because of a reward, it shows that sometimes there's not love involved within that thing or that action. And so it kind of makes you miserable in doing the thing you want to do. Like, for instance, a lot of people are waiting for payday at their job and they're only working because of the money. But then that also makes them miserable when they're at work and they're looking for any excuse to get out of it. So when you move from taking action because of reward to taking action because you love the action, you're definitely going to see a difference there. And you're also going to see very different results. Now, I've been looking at this within society, and most people want the rewards of fame, money, beauty, or power. And that is the reason they do almost every single action, is for one of those things. Now, we're always in search for wanting something that we don't have, even if that's like peace, love, and joy. If we feel a lack of that, we're always in search for something. Now, when we don't have it and we have this anxious energy of trying to obtain it, all the actions that we're taking itself are based from anxiety and not based out of love. So it's harder to find those results. But taking action instead now because you love what you're doing is number 1, having you live in the moment. And number 2 is actually just giving you the things you were already looking for. Now, I've been playing a lot with this within my own life because I've been seeing it with my podcast, my YouTube channel, and my work. I could be doing these things. I could be having a podcast because I want a lot of people to see it and I want it to do well and I want to make money off of it. But that is actually not the reason I started this at all. The reason I started this is because this is already something I love doing. I love reading these books. I love talking about it with people. So even working on the podcast, like writing notes for today, finding the quotes for these books is something that I actually feel a lot of love while I'm doing it. And I actually don't care about the results. I've changed my mindset now so that I'm not looking for any specific outcome in any of these things that I'm doing. I'm being driven more by the love of the action itself and out of curiosity of what would happen if I did this. And now the switch of being motivated by love and curiosity of not any particular outcome, it leaves space open for anything to happen. And that is where the magic comes in. That's where the universe can start playing because you're not expecting something specific. You're allowing whatever it is to come in. And that's what the universe loves. So when you look at it, doing actions because you love them, you're already reaping the reward in the present moment. You're not doing things for a future present moment of reward. You're doing things now and living in the reward currently. Now, how can you do this in your everyday life? Number one, ask yourself, what do you love doing? And what do you naturally just do your best at? And do you feel love when you do it? Like, are you excited? Are you feeling full and fulfilled when you're doing those things? Start navigating and seeing what those types of things are. So now let's move on to quote number 3. I think this is going to be our last quote of the day, but I might point out something that was said at the end of the chapter. So quote number 3 is going to be on page 86. And it says, if you do your best in the search for personal freedom, in the search for self-love, you will discover that it's just a matter of time before you find what you're looking for. So this actually just explains what we were just talking about. When you are searching to fill the space you have inside of you, your God-shaped hole is like what people call it. You discover yourself and you find exactly what you're looking for because the journey, the actions itself kind of is what you're looking for. And sometimes we don't even know what it is that we're looking for. We just know that there's something that we need to try to find. And that is kind of still a little bit where I'm at, but I'm sure a lot of you are still out there where you're like, I don't really know what it is I'm looking for. Something doesn't feel right. I don't feel fulfilled and I need to find something. So it may take time, and it also may take letting go and just following the flow in order for you to find and discover what it is you were looking for. And taking action every single day, but being open to the outcome lets the universe provide you with what you need, and maybe not what you thought you were looking for, but is exactly what you need. And when you realize it at the end, you were like, oh my gosh, that was what I was looking for the whole time. And I didn't even notice that that's what I wanted. But now that I have it, I knew that this is what I was looking for the whole time. And that really does happen when you're on that search for personal freedom and in the search of your own self-love. Now, I've seen this within my life because I still don't really know exactly what it is I'm looking for, but I do know it's a feeling. It's like an energy, it's a state of being. Like that's kind of what I'm feeling like I'm looking for. It's not, and I know my outer world is going to reflect my inner world, so I'm really just looking for this inner world right now. But I find when I'm present with myself and I'm present within the loving energy of God, the universe has things just move around me and things move to me in a certain way where it's like, I know that this is correct. I don't even know what this is that I'm really doing. I just know it's right. And I can see when I'm in those states, I can see actionable steps for my desires and my dreams. And I've noticed that it's something that we all have access to at any time, anywhere. We can all have access to this feeling, this knowing, this connection, this love. And that, I think, is what a lot of people are on the search for. And by doing our best every single day, that puts us within that state more frequently. So what does this mean for you? What this means is that give yourself some excitement in the fact that you know that already being on this path, you are going to find whatever it is you're looking for. And you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And you have that access to the feeling of being fully content, fully in love, fully in the present moment at any time. Using these tools, learning more about this stuff is just going to help you be able to tap into that energy that is always there, even when you have distractions around you. Now, we don't have a fourth quote, but I do want to kind of touch on the last little section at the very end of this chapter on page 91. The very last words it says are, "Today is the beginning of a new dream." And that really hit me, and I really love that because at any moment, at any time, any day, it can be the beginning of changing your life in one way or another. A saying that I've heard a lot, and I think this kind of fits here, is anxiety lives in the future, depression lives in the past, and peace lives in the present. So choosing to live right now, live in your dream right now, to start on your dream right now, is to have peace within yourself in this present moment. And we have the power at any time to change our story. With these tools, we can have access to the state of connection and love that is always around us. And by doing your best, by doing this one agreement, it makes all the other agreements possible to help you get to those connections. So, what did we learn today? We learned about doing our best. What does that actually look like? We also learned about doing things for the love of doing the action and not just the reward, and how by practicing this one agreement of doing your best helps with every single other agreement as well. So that's it for this chapter. So let's move on to our 3 journal prompts and our soul challenge for the week. Journal prompt number 1. What does your best look like right now with the energy you have today? What would it feel like to honor that without overdoing it? Journal prompt number 2. What is something you do purely because you love it with no attachment to the outcome? How does that feel compared to the things you do expecting a reward? Journal prompt number 3. If today were the first day of a brand new chapter of your life, what would you want it to look like? What is one small action you could take today just for the love of it? So that was our journal prompt. And now let's spin our wheel and see what our weekly soul challenge is going to be this week. Here we go. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Oh, we got I'm the best. Okay, that's cool because we're talking about doing our best. Let me tell you guys what I'm the best is all about. Okay, so the challenge for this week is I'm the best, and that is end your day by naming off one thing that you generally did your best at without comparing it to yesterday. So guys, that is it for our 4th agreement, which was chapter 5. We still have one more episode for this book. That's going to be the last, I think, 2-ish chapters of the book. We're just going to finish up the rest of the book and talk about it next week. I think that's going to talk about how we're going to apply these things more into our everyday life. So stay tuned for that coming up next week. And if you're still looking to get the book, The 4 Agreements, there are some links in the description below to help you go and purchase them for yourself. Now, because next week is going to be our very last episode of the book, the week after that is going to be our listener episode for The 4 Agreements. So if you already have some questions, comments, thoughts, opinions about this book, be sure to either leave them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram at DreamLifeJewels or give me an email at dreamlifejewels@gmail.com. I would love to get some things prepared for our listener episode and see what you guys thought about this book. Once again, if you want to follow the podcast, the video podcast is on YouTube under Soul Study on my channel, Dream Life Jewels, and it is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts under Soul Study. You guys can follow me on YouTube and on Instagram at Dream Life Jewels. I would love to connect with you guys some more there. And thank you guys so much for listening in. Remember, take what resonates, leave the rest, and I hope you have an amazing week becoming your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic selves. And until next time, bye.